doing?
Just clearing my throat.
KUGAN, CASSIUS, IFL TV, MTK Global. Hold on. Hold on, boy. Do you know the most interesting thing I found out today?
Go on.
That Tom Little has been acting as a body double for Tyson Fury today.
Didn't you know that?
No.
Yeah, he's done it a few times. Going to employ him full time, I think.
Yeah? You're going to slip him in the fight as well?
Potentially, we're thinking about it. But we're just working out how bad we can be sued if that's the case. But
When do you leave for America?
Sunday.
Where are you having camp? Or the rest of the camp?
Gym.
Okay. I've been there. It's quite nice.
Yeah?
Yes. You like a bit of
We're
Vegas,
thinking about
didn't you?
bringing you over for security to Vegas. We know your
10
experience.
years ago to the month,
Yeah?
I was looking after Ricky Hearn, who came home in one piece.
Exactly, and we
The
were
Manny
thinking you're
Pacquiao fight?
experienced in the matter. And
Yeah. For you or for Tyson?
for Tyson.
Oh, what
Not
for you?
me, look after
I'll
myself.
throw myself in front of you.
can't I? Yeah?
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
If I said you had a beautiful body, would you hold it against me? Let me ask you your opinion on Maurizio Sullivan's comments the other day
Interesting.
about him saying that he wants to make Tyson versus Dylan Whyte for the mandatory slot for Wilder Brazil. It doesn't make sense, just from the outside, that Tyson would fight an eliminator to get to a fight that, for his own reasons, didn't take with Wilder when it was ordered again. Does that make sense?
To a certain degree, yeah.
Go
to
on,
a certain degree.
explain.
It's not that Tyson didn't take it. We already knew that Wilder was doing this free-fight Showtime deal, and obviously Tyson's not going to sit and wait about, so we had to crack on. Tyson went to Marbella to train for that fight, start training for that fight, as we know. BT come over, he was there training, expecting the fight to happen. Then we got wind of this situation happening with the free-fight Showtime deal that Tyson wasn't part of, so, and talking about certain dates of when the fight can happen. So obviously Tyson had to move on from the situation. Obviously, this fight's happening later than what he would have liked to get out. But what you're saying there is right. Tyson doesn't have to box an eliminator. Now that's not saying that Tyson wouldn't fight Dillian Whyte. Obviously not. But I do feel Dillian Whyte does deserve a shot. I will say that he does deserve a shot because it's a bit of a joke, that situation for him. That is the case. I'll admit to that. But obviously Tyson wants the fights with the other big two. That's what, you know, it's the top three that people talk about. They don't talk about the top four, do they? They talk about the top three. But you know, obviously there are talks being held. You know, so depending on when and what the situation is, if they can't be made, I'm sure Dillian Whyte will get an opportunity against Tyson, Joshua, Wilder. But at the minute, everybody wants to see, and the fighters want to fight. Well, Tyson does anyway. The one of the other top two.
I think I saw some comments from Tyson's interview with Michelle Phelps when she asked him about it. What?
Was that a dig?
How was that a dig?
Oh, it's just
It was a plug, if anything.
You just had a funny look on your face when you said.
Me and Michelle
you gave me the eyes. You said, Michelle come, but I didn't. But go on anyway. I was just checking it wasn't a dig.
Don't make me come on to this after. I think we'll leave this where it's at. No, Phelps' interview with Tyson, I saw some quotes where Tyson said, I won't be told what to do, kind of being ordered, you know, as in terms of the fight, if it got ordered. I don't think it's been ordered yet. It's what Maurizio Sullivan saying that that's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
So you're saying that you don't feel like he has to go down that route, but that doesn't mean that he wouldn't fight Dillian Whyte.
No, obviously not, because why would he get... I like Dillian Whyte. I think he deserves a shot, like I said. But Dillian Whyte had a close fight with Chisora. Look what Tyson done to Chisora back in 2014. Yeah, Dillian Whyte did end up getting a stoppage against Chisora, but stylistically, I don't feel that's the hardest fight for Tyson. The hardest fight stylistically for Tyson was Deontay Wilder, and we saw what he did there. But I do feel like Dillian Whyte does deserve a shot. But like I say, obviously there's talks being held between the top three about these fights being made. and that's what we're after, really. Do you know what I mean? Tyson's not going to go back to fight Dillian Whyte for a final eliminator to box Deontay Wilder. He doesn't need to do that. But obviously, if the big fights can't get made, then there's only a certain amount of heavyweights out there that you can box.
Just kind of backtracking to this time last year, you guys were kind of probably just about, well, you were in preparation for his comeback fight against Seferi. Had that fight with Pianetta. People were kind of saying possibly Tyson would have liked to have had one more before the Wilder fight. But between the Wilder fight and now, there's been kind of, 7 months when the fight happens. So kind of what is his kind of like fight fitness like, conditioning like now in that 7-month period?
Yeah, good, because like I say, we went straight out to Marbella New Year's Day, it was actually, to start training, because we thought that the rematch was going to happen, you know. And then obviously, like I've previously explained, what the situation was. So like Tyson said, he's always in the gym now. He has to train for, that's like his medication. So he's fit, he's always fit, and it's just finding the right balance. If anything, you have to make sure he doesn't go over the hill and overtrain, because then it's very hard to bring him back. But he's in good condition.
Do you see his foreseeable future in America now?
At the minute, it seems that way. But listen, you can never, you can't plan for miles ahead. Do you know what I mean? We know that we've got Tom Schwartz on June the 15th. Hopefully, we've got another date.
End of September.
Hopefully, and then we'll see by there. Like I say, the top 3 are all in talks, and we'll see what the situation is, see the availabilities, and see what can be done.
Did want to ask you about Eddie Hearn's comments recently on Tyson Fury. I'm sure you would have seen it.
There's always a few.
What?
There's always a few.
Yeah, to be fair, he's probably being asked them, to be honest, but he kind of said that Tyson wouldn't take that fight with Dillian Whyte. You can see probably why he would say that, or not.
Why would he say that? Why would he say that when Tyson was the one who come back after 2 fights and went over and fought Deontay Wilder? Now, when Tyson was out for the 2.5, 3 years, didn't see Joshua stepping up to the plate and making the Wilder fight, but Tyson did within 2 smallish comeback fights after losing 10 stone and jumped straight in there. Also, I believe that reports suggested that Dillian's team had already said no to the final eliminator with Tyson. So that's an interesting point, that a lot of it is media manipulation. Now, another thing that Eddie said is that Tyson called Andy Ruiz fat. Now, show me where Tyson called Andy Ruiz fat. And listen, Eddie's good at what he does in that, but it does piss me off a bit when he does things like that, because that's media manipulation. Tyson put up a picture of a kid from a cartoon that somebody had already made the picture and said, it looks like Andy Ruiz. So he put the picture up laughing about the picture, not calling Andy Ruiz fat. As he stated in another interview, he'd call himself fat, but he did not call Andy Ruiz fat, and that's media manipulation. And that's where, you know, he spends a lot of time trying to talk bad about Tyson, and it's a bit distasteful to talk bad about somebody that's, you know, done so much for so many people in terms of mental health, inspiring so many people. You know, it is a bit distasteful, and he's always got something to say in that point. And he tries to talk about, oh, what's the lineal champion? What do you mean, what's the lineal champion? When Terence Crawford done an interview pre the Khan fight, in his interview he stated that he's achieved lineal status. Didn't mention alphabet titles. He said he's achieved lineal status at lightweight, at light welterweight, and at welterweight. That's what he claimed. That's what he spoke about. He didn't speak about alphabet titles. He spoke about the lineage. And you know, people sometimes say, "Oh, how can Tyson still be lineal champion after this, after that?" But when Tyson was retired and out for that time, number 1 didn't fight number 2. That's not Tyson's fault. That's not Tyson's fault. If number 1 had fought number 2, then you might have a claim to say, actually, there'd be a difference. Somebody can be claimed the lineal heavyweight champion, but that didn't happen. And like I say, it's not Tyson's fault that didn't happen. So until number 1 fights number 2, that can't happen. And so therefore, Tyson's the one who beat Vladimir Klitschko. Tyson's the one who beat Deontay Wilder, which even Eddie would admit, and that's why he's the lineal heavyweight champion of the world. And people talk about, oh, show me the title, show me this, show me that. Well, does your body not need oxygen? Is oxygen not the most important thing? But can you see that? No. Facts are facts. And that's what it is, really.
Say what's on your mind.
It's just exact. Do you know what that is, though? That's just a couple of facts stated there. That's just a couple of facts. So, yeah.
We will talk more about Billy Joe Saunders this week. Obviously, he's fighting for the WBO super middleweight world title this week in Stevenage. Isaac Lowe will feature on the Tyson Fury bill on the 15th. Do you train any other travellers?
No, but I've just started training some of the travellers' horses.
Okay. Skippy, have you met Skippy?
No, I haven't met Skippy, no.
Okay.
But
Little Shetland.
I'm just dipping my toe in the water and see how I get in that world as well.
No problem. How's Billy Joe?
He's good. He's good. He's ready. Definitely ready. That's it, really.
We'll talk about Billy Joe at the press conference this Thursday. But yeah, looking well, Ben. Or anything else you'd like to add? Thoughts on Joshua Ruiz? What do you think?
I think that obviously they've tried to get a replacement. It's been a difficult one, so I can understand in that situation. I think that stylistically it should be a comfortable night for Anthony Joshua, to be honest, because Ruiz is the type of fighter that will catch and counter. But with the size difference and Joshua's power, it's hard to catch and counter with, you know, the difference in size, and that's going to be a difficult. If Ruiz had used his feet a little bit more, sat underneath a shot and come back, it could be a little bit different. But he'll sort of catch and fire back, and you can't really do that with somebody of the power and size of Anthony Joshua when you're the size of Andy Ruiz. Just my view, anyway. But yeah.
Your humble view. Congratulations on making it to the Champions League final.
Yeah.
Are you going to be fit to play?
Oh, I was thinking, what are you on about? Don't know. We'll have to see. I've got a busy schedule, but I might be able to make it.
Ben, we'll catch up with you this week in Stevenage, and thank you very much for your time, sir.
No problem.
Cheers, Ben.